Cool.
Hi everyone, welcome to a very special edition of Games Like This interviews. So we have here today our IronViz champion for this year, Will. Oh, no, sorry, Paul. Paul, Will was last year, so we had like two winners, so it's confusing at times.
So
Hi,
many winners.
Paul.
Hey, Lewis. Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you won IronViz. It was so exciting seeing you on stage in 20 minutes doing that viz. It was really tremendous effort and really good storytelling.
Oh, it was even more exciting to be up there.
So today we'll just have like a very casual talk, just getting to know you and how your journey started and what advice can you give to the newbies in the community itself, right? So maybe we'll get started. So the first question we have is how did you get started in your Tableau journey?
Yeah, well, last year, I was looking around for a way to build like a DataViz portfolio website for my resume. And, hilariously, since then, I've only created a handful of business. So obviously I wasn't in too big of a hurry to build a DataViz portfolio website. But anyway, that was my origin story. And my background is in Power BI, and Power BI doesn't make it that easy to build this sort of website. And I discovered Tableau Public, and I was just blown away. This is like a free tool that just automatically builds your portfolio as you publish. And then you can sort of link to that portfolio from LinkedIn or your resume or wherever. And so that was amazing to me. And so there was a minor obstacle that I didn't know anything about Tableau. But I sort of saw that as more of a learning opportunity than an obstacle. I was already sort of looking to build my resume. So I thought, why not learn Tableau as well? And then I discovered, to my delight, that Tableau Public actually helps you learn Tableau Public, because you can kind of download the business you're interested in and sort of dig around and figure out how they work. So that was a nice bonus.
Yeah, that's already. I think for most people that is kind of the case. We have like a lot of community members that came from Power BI, so I think that is a journey that a lot of folks can resonate with. So you coming from Power BI, what advice would you give the community who are just starting out in Tableau?
Right. So if you're just starting out, I have a few ideas. I'm not sure if I'd call them advice, but they're certainly ideas, and they work for me. And idea number one is spend more time on fewer visits and try to make each viz you're working on as good as you can. So personally, I think I've learned a lot by workshopping vizzes from, kind of like 75% good to 95% fantastic. Like they never go to 100%, right? But that sort of journey from, say, pretty good to great is really interesting. And I think, for example, if something doesn't look quite the way you want it to, then spending the time on Google or wherever to figure out how to make it look exactly the way you want it to look, and sort of constantly asking yourself, how can I make this even better? And going through a few rounds of kind of additional iteration on the things you build. By doing that, you're learning Tableau lessons that are kind of personally important and interesting to you. And also you end up with like higher quality visits and sort of meatier stories to tell about them in job interviews. So your visits have kind of more of an interesting history. So that's easier said than done, right? So if you're a newbie and you're looking for some actual specific ideas or resources, taking your business from good to great, then I think an important aspect is kind of broadening your horizons to give your business more options. So I want to make it sort of clear from the outset, you don't need to understand how to implement all these different tools. Just know that they're available. Like you're not actually sharpening the tools. You're just becoming aware of what tool slots are available in your toolbox. So an example is a viz of the day is a fantastic example, right? Every day that a new viz gets published and you can sort of look at it. And if it's interesting, then you can download it. And like I said, sort of poke around under the hood and see what makes it work. And in fact, the whole Tableau Public Discover page, if you can I link to that? Maybe I can sort of show you what I mean by the Tableau Public Discover page, or just Everybody stand by. I'll share the screen and show you what I'm talking about. This one, right? Yeah. Stand by. All right, we'll go up here. And yeah, this page here. So as well as Viz of the Day up the top, you've kind of got a lot of different trending and sort of different topics of Viz's. And this is fantastic. Shout out to Taha doing a great job with Tableau Public. And yeah, so this is where sort of I come for inspiration. Like you can sort of just look at what's trending, look at what's new, look at what's interesting. And if something takes your fancy, then you can sort of download it and have a look and see what makes it tick. But even if you don't go to all that trouble, you're just kind of aware of what sort of visual tools are available, and you've sort of got those in the back of your mind, so that the next time you're working on a viz, you know, instead of only having options A, B, and B, you have options A, B, and C. So this is a great place to come for that sort of thing.
Those are really great advice. I think I can speak for Will and Tina as well. Like three of us have individually, all three of us have a list of these ideas that we want to do, and it's always growing, and we never get to the end of it. So every time we see like a good article or some this that kind of impressed us, we kind of have a little brainstorm ourselves. It's like, oh, why not we have this rebuilt in another topic and stuff like that, and it just gets added to the never-ending list. So we never get to the end of the list. But I hear you that we should, just focus on one and just like one step at a time. And that's I think is a very good advice for like procrastinators like ourselves.
Absolutely. I'm king of the procrastinators. I actually had a couple of other specific sites I wanted to show you real quick. Just these guys have been really helpful for me in my journey. So let me see if I can do that here. So unfortunately, they're kind of, this is the one I wanted. So yeah, so you've got this one by Nir Snilga. I hope I'm saying that right. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's fantastic for newbies. It sort of gives you this overview of all the chart types, but like I say, you don't need to sort of go into each one and memorize it and figure out how it works. This one additionally has this kind of color coding of suggested, limited use, and not suggested. And I love not suggested. Not suggested is the politest way to say don't do this that I've ever seen on a viz. So this is great. This simultaneously sort of shows that if you're a beginner, like, it shows you what's available, and it also sort of narrows the focus by these colors to what's actually important. So I think that viz is fantastic. I come back to that frequently when I'm looking around. And there's also this one pager by, I'm going to get this wrong, I'm sure, but Thiago Lima here has just written this one page on data visualization best practice. And it's just beautiful. I won't try to sort of paraphrase it. I won't do it justice. But yeah, it takes not very long to read. And it's a good idea for both of these tools, whether you're looking at the cheat sheet on chart types or the cheat sheet on visualization best practices. It's a good idea to, like you said, if you've got a long list of projects you're working on, as you start on a new project, just come and give these a read and sort of see how they resonate you with the idea of the current project in your mind. Maybe different things will jump out when you read this. So yeah, I make a point of just reading through these things every time I start on a new viz, and that sort of gets the juices flowing on what options might be available.
Yep, that's really great advice. I think these two resources are really great for newbies to start with, because it gives them a good foundation to start their very first viz even.
Yep. Oh, can I say, this is a very long-winded answer, but I do want to give a shout out to one more thing, and that is Viz office hours. If you're a newbie and you don't know about Viz office hours, then you absolutely should. I'm not sure who started it, but right now it's currently staffed by Michelle Freeman, Nicole Klassen, and Zach Geis. Sorry if I've left anybody out. I think that's the crew right now. And these are just three really smart people who volunteer their time every week to help you with whatever you're working on. So you rock up with your viz that you're trying to take from good to great, and they give you feedback and ideas and generally make your life better. So just a fantastic service for newbies.
Yeah, definitely. Like Games Like Viz also highly recommends them, because I think even within the IronViz qualifying period, they did a couple of Viz office hours together with Sarah as well, to kind of give feedback to people during like when they needed help with IronViz submission. And I think
absolutely. Yes, no, Sarah's on the list as well. Lady Sarah Bartlett from the UK. What a gem she is. Yes, like during the IronViz qualifier month, absolutely. I partook of her services, and also on the call were Michelle Freeman from Viz Office Hours. I was lucky enough to have her on the call with Sarah and Mark Reed. So I had just a group of all stars on my call. So yeah, another fantastic service. Only available during the IronViz qualifier month, but yeah, absolutely fantastic. Highly recommended.
So speaking of IronViz, how was your entire journey leading up to winning the entire Viz?
Yeah, well, journey is right. Roller coaster might be a good word. It was a journey of many stages, kind of like the 5 stages of grief, but instead of the 5 stages of grief, I went through the 5 stages of imposter syndrome. So the first stage is like disbelief, the second stage is panic, and in fact, I think stages 2 to 5 were all panic. But start with disbelief because, like, remember the qualifiers were back in October, and nearly everybody publishes their entries in this kind of mad panic over the last 24, 48 hours. So there's a lot of commotion on Twitter, a lot of excitement, and most of that's directed at the people with the most followers. Obviously, that's the way Twitter works. And at the time, I had very few followers, and being so very new to Tableau. So I got some polite applause, sort of a nice job, new guy, which was much appreciated. But the feedback was certainly not, oh my God, this is amazing. It was just, well done, new guy. And I thought, well, okay, I'm glad I did that. I saw it through. I didn't give up despite much temptation. And ultimately, I published something I'm proud of, updated my resume, and, life went on, right? And then many weeks later, out of the blue, without warning, you get this life-changing email, right? And at, even when I realized it was congratulations, my first thought was, oh, well, maybe I've scraped into the APAC top 5, which was totally unexpected. And wow, what an achievement. And as I read more and I realized, oh my God, I've actually won and I'm going to the finals, there were like tears in my eyes. And so much so that I called Tracy over and said, look at this. And like, I'm reading the emails and there's tears. And she must have been wondering, what the hell happened? Did somebody die or something? And then, we stayed up and we watched the announcement video at like 3 a.m. Australian time. And that's when it started feeling real, when I saw the announcement video. And so that's when the panic phase, that ended the disbelief phase, and the panic phase started. But rather than bore everybody with the many stages of panic I went through during my IronViz journey, I actually want to give a shout out. I spent some of this panic stage talking to IronViz legends of the past, and I wanted to give some of them a shout out. They were kind enough to jump on a phone call with me. So I spoke to CJ from the UK, Kimley from Australia, and Pradeep from India. So thanks to those three IronViz rock stars helping me get through this very turbulent period. And I want to do the same. I want to pay it forward. So in the future, I don't know if this is the right platform to do it, but if in the future anybody out there has qualified and they need somebody to talk to, then please reach out to me. Can't be next year because I'm judging, but any other year, I'd be happy to take that call. Please reach out if you'd like somebody to talk to, because it can be really overwhelming just after you find out you're a qualifier. And your friend, Will Sutton, deserves a special mention as well, because even though he was not allowed to talk with me because he was judging, and in fact, the only conversation we ever had before meeting in Las Vegas was him very politely telling me that we weren't allowed to talk. He has posted to YouTube this like epic 7-video series about his personal IronViz journey. And it's just brilliant, like, especially for a qualifier. It's just tailor-made for qualifiers and sort of goes through Will's philosophical approach to each of the 3 different components: analysis, design, storytelling. And so I watched that quite a few times, and that was also very helpful during the panic stage. So well played, Will. Fantastic video.
Yeah, those videos are awesome. I remember looking through them as well, just to get a feel on what goes behind the scenes of IronViz, and it was really intriguing.
Yeah. No, well, I felt, yeah, there's no need for anybody else. Like, if ever I want to write a blog or do a video about, how to be an IronViz qualifier, there's no need, because Will has written the definitive work. So it's there, and he shared it with the world, and yeah, it's fantastic.
Cool. So, so on to the next question. Games like this was one of your first touch points. What drew you to it, and what were your favorite challenges?
Yeah, well, my people drew me. So that story kind of begins with my first biz, which was a board game choosing tool. Actually, can we geek out on a little here? Like, if I can't geek out on a board game biz on this call, then when can I, right? Am I still sharing my screen? I am. So
You are.
yes. So if I just jump over to this one, this is the one that started everything. My very first biz, and the reason I want to show it to you is because it's not just a viz; it's kind of a tool. It's for for board game lovers, and I keep it updated every month. See here, as last updated in June 23 because I updated it for this call to make sure it was nice and up to date. And the idea of this is that it's not just a sort of a like a lot of vizzes, you can sort of go to it and sort of read it and understand the message and like, all right, got that, and then move on. This is more of a kind of a user. If, for example, you have a games night every month or something, then you might want to check this out every month, right? Because new games are coming on all the time, and you might be looking for a new game. And what this viz does, the sort of the innovation is it sort of divides the games into four different what I call weight classes, right? So the trouble with Board Game Geek is that most of the heavier games are the ones that get the big votes. And so this was a chance to sort of divide it into these four columns so that if, for example, you like the games in one of the columns, like Wingspan, for example, is a great example. So Wingspan, the whole point of my qualifier viz was that Wingspan is this fantastically popular game. Half the world loves it. And so if you love Wingspan and you're looking for another game to try, then you maybe want to try Arnak here, or maybe Earth, which has just come out. It's only been released in this last year. Or if you like Azul, which is another sort of popular game, then you might want to try Cascadia. So this is the way it works. It's meant to be sort of used and looked at again and again, right? So anyway, that might be enough glorification of this viz. But the reason I wanted to bring it up was that, as you can see, it's a real passion project of mine. I worked on it for quite a bit of time before I was ready to publish, being the first viz and all. And yeah, I can keep it updated, and I hope people will get some use out of it. So why am I telling you all that? It's because I was kind of like weirdly anxious that nobody was ever going to see it, right? So I was going to work on it and put it out there, and then like the tree falling in the forest, nobody would ever see it or get any use out of it, right? And so I was holding off on publishing it, and that's when I discovered Games Like Viz, and that really changed everything because you have your official monthly challenge, of course, but you also have this like really generous policy, and it's one of your superpowers, really, like of being open to anything games related. Like, so even if it's got nothing to do with your monthly challenge, you invite your community to send in anything games related. Please send it in. We'll share them with our community and get some eyeballs on them, right? And that was exactly the confidence boost I needed because it gives you the sort of like the gentle reassurance that at least a few people are probably going to look at it, and they're going to be my kind of people. If anybody is going to get some use out of this thing, it's going to be the Games Night Viz community. And so I published, and that's exactly what happened. Like, you guys picked it up in your roundup a couple of days later, and then you sort of sent it out to your crew, and I got a nice little smattering of thanks in my inbox. And it wasn't like, overwhelming avalanche of praise or anything. It was nice, it was just right. It was a handful of people who looked at it and found it useful, wanted to let me know. And I think that sort of just modest encouragement is really important when you're starting out. At least it was to me, right? So thanks, GMV. That's you got me started on my Tableau journey, and that's why I wear the shirt. I might not, without you, I might still be, sitting there, sort of anxiously wondering whether I'm going to hit publish or not. So thanks very much for providing the community that you do.
Thank you. I think that's the whole idea of us starting games like this as well, because we wanted to enable the community to kind of come together as a collective mind to share and learn from one another, and in a very fun way. So like kind of like what Zach kind of said in his session and his speaker session at TC, Viz what you love. And that's really the spirit of games like this, because like when you viz something that you love, your passion and everything that goes into building the viz, the colors, the font choices, every design is intentional because it comes from passion within. And that's really what we want to encourage because the best way to learn a tool is to really love it. And by having this community challenge, we wanted to kind of enable the community to have that kind of passion towards Tableau product as well and database in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And visiting what you love, I mean, I've only entered IronViz once, so I don't have a lot of data points, but certainly visiting what you love gives you the energy you need. Like the qualifier is to it can take a lot of time, and certainly in my case, it took a lot. I took an especially large amount of time in my case because I barely knew what I was doing. But even for like these things take a lot of time, and there's a lot of benefits from spending the time on them, obviously. But yeah, I think you need that passion, sort of as sort of wind in your sail. It just makes it feel less like work and more like you're doing something fun, and that's certainly was in my case. And yeah, I think that's a big part of the IronViz journey to try to really find something that you feel passionate about, because that'll give you the wind in your sails to get to the finish line.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. So we have just one more question for you. So what did you learn from the entire journey, be it GameStart Biz or IronViz, and what would you like to see added to GameStart Biz in the future?
Right. Well, in my case, it was deadlines are good. It might be an unusual, unexpected lesson to learn from Games Night Viz. But what I mean by that is, like, even though I didn't explicitly follow one of your challenges, there's still a deadline for submissions, right? And so that was another aspect of the Games Night Viz experience that encouraged me to finally pull the trigger. Uh, and really, talking of IronViz again, that was the only reason I made it to the end of the IronViz journey too, because every step had a deadline. And so, if my next, I guess what I'm saying is, if my next viz can be about anything and can be submitted anytime, then that's just a perfect recipe for procrastination. You mentioned procrastination before, and I'm a master procrastinator. So, you know, I say I bring on Games Night Viz, bring on the next season of Games Night Viz, because what that does is it gives me some topics to viz about, and a deadline to hit, and creates that sort of, not only provides something fun to do, but gives me a sort of a sense of urgency and a sense of, oh, well, I better get working on this. And also a finish line. Like if you don't have a finish line, then you'll keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and forever and never get around to publishing. So all those aspects of it are fantastic, right? And so uh, in terms of suggestions, I mean, it's already a great product. So in terms of suggestions, I would like to see. I don't know if this is possible. I think in 2023 we might have the technology, but emails, or maybe I'm just dating myself by saying that I still use emails. Maybe nobody uses emails anymore. But I like the idea of like receiving an email to let me know that what the next season is, and there's an impending challenge, and this is the topic, and this is when it's due. I know not every community does this. I know Storytelling with Data does this. Shout out to Storytelling with Data and their monthly emails. Um, so yeah, that's suggestion number one. Because otherwise, what happens with all these different communities is that you sort of, every once in a while, I sort of, I should really check what everybody's doing. So I sort of dance around and I click on everybody's website individually, and so often I'll get there and it's like, oh, there's 48 hours left in this challenge, and it started a month ago, but you only clicked on it now. So to avoid that sort of thing happening, it's like, yes, an email would be good. I'll pause there and let you respond to suggestion number one.
Yeah, I think that is a very good suggestion, and we've been thinking about that. And I think the best way is probably to start engaging people to get their context, and because we also want to give you guys something to look forward to, because like even though we roll out monthly challenges, some of the challenge may excite you, some of the challenges might not excite you, which we have seen like from our recent review, that different challenges have like different responses. So for season two, just a teaser, since we are on like this special segment, we are looking at putting together a calendar for at least a year or so on upcoming game launches, as as well as anniversaries, so that we can slot something fun every month. So as and when some topic excites you, you can jump on that month's kind of challenge, and there'll be something for everyone. Yeah.
Fantastic. Sounds great. And you're going to shoot for monthly challenges.
Yep, we will.
Ambitious.
Ambitious. Yeah, we're trying to be a bit more widespread this year. Seeing that we have like 2 IronViz champions coming out, so we want to groom more IronViz champions from this program.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are the hot ticket. But it makes sense, right? Like given what we were talking about before, given that like you do need to have this sense of passion to put in the time for IronViz, and I think games like Viz community members are passionate, so I think they do have a competitive advantage. I think that
at the end of the day, who doesn't love games? Like any type.
Exactly.
It could be a mobile game, it could be a card game, it could be a board game, it could be anything.
Yeah, and that's really why I entered. Like last year, it was the topic, right? Like it was just a once in a lifetime. Like I don't think there's ever going to be an IronViz topic that I'm going to be more passionate about in the future. So, despite my lack of preparedness, I decided, right, this is going to be the year, ready or not. And and obviously that was that worked out pretty well.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Wait! I've got one more suggestion. Sorry, I shouldn't have broken up my suggestions. My other suggestion is have you thought about doing a sort of a fan favorite every season? So this is where, for example, maybe just the people who enter would be one way to do it. Just the people who enter as part of their entry or submission, or entry makes it sound too formal, but as part of submitting something to games like Viz, you also get the opportunity to vote on everything else that got submitted and just choose a fan favorite every season.
I think last year we did something like a top 10 or top 20 favorites from the team.
That's a good idea.
Entire year of submission, but I think we didn't do one for this year. But that is a very good suggestion, and we might think about maybe grooming something along the lines of DC Awards for games like this, maybe. Or we could have a segment within DC Awards, especially for games like this. Like either way works.
Yeah, and you're already in the t-shirt printing biz, as you can tell by these sweet threads. This was I got to say, this was the thing that I was second most interested in at TC23. Like obviously, a lot of my attention was on IronViz, obviously, but the only two things that I was looking for, that I absolutely must do things in TC23 were compete in IronViz and figure out how to get one of these t-shirts. So very, very excited that I figured this out. And since you're in the t-shirt biz, you could maybe you could do like a series of t-shirts to be what the prizes are for these fan favorites. You could have the fan favorite Good Night Games Night Viz t-shirt. What a collector's item that would be.
Yeah, I mean, we've been thinking about that. We've been working with a couple of t-shirt printing service providers, see like where we can actually get the best, cheapest deals for our committee members. So stay tuned. More news soon. Right. So yeah, thanks Paul for spending some time with us. Talking through your journey, talking through some advice for newbies in the community. And just before we end the call, I would like to just share this piece where I think not everyone might have seen this, but we kind of did a review for season 1. So basically what this does is that we have kind of collated all the entries that we have received in the past 2 years for us to wrap up season 1. So these are our collaborators for the whole season 1. So we have people, the committee leaders from DataFam, from IronQuest, Sarah, Data Plus Music, Back to Viz Basics, Sports Viz Sunday, and Prepping Data as well. So
what a crew!
Yeah, they've been instrumental because of all the collabs. We had so many, exciting submissions from the community, and it's really amazing to see, the excitement and passion that people put into their entries. So all in all, looking at the big ass numbers, we had about 12 challenges um, over the span of 2 years. So we had 88 participants, out of which 10 were totally new to Tableau. So this was something that we were really really excited about because it shows how inviting games like this is to newbies in the community. And also a very huge shout out is that we got 7 of the Vizzers that got Viz of the Day. So it's really awesome because we didn't expect them to actually get that far, but passion really pays off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We had a total about 151 total pieces, and it's all spread out across the 2 years. You can see that the largest portion that we have is from the collabs that we have. So back to Viz Basics and the prepping data had quite a bit of participation, as well as apparently Need for Speed and Player Select was one of the hottest ones, as well as Iron Quest, because Iron Quest, I think, was very similar to a format of IronViz. Kind of a way to get people prepared on building something much larger than like a one Viz entry. Right? So that was really interesting. And we have over here our leaderboard. Just a shout out to Joshua and Jacob, who are our top top submitters. Jacob actually,
Yeah.
I just have to shout out because I think about 4 or 5 of this business that he created was not by him, but actually his son, who was kind of starting out to learn Tableau. So it's really heartwarming to see that not only Jacob has the passion to create something in Tableau, he has kind of passed on that passion to his 11-year-old. I think it's 11-year-old. I could be wrong. Forgive me if I got your son's age wrong, but I think he was 11. So he got him to create like I think one of it was like a, let me see, what was it? I think it was the Genius Hour project, as well as the Yoshi Island memory game, which was really awesome for an 11-year-old to create this. So it had proper labels, they had proper colors, axes, and images, which was something that you would not kind of expect out of a newbie in the community. So it was
Yeah.
really really great. Yeah. And Joshua, his viz are all kind of oozing with passion because all the topics that he chosen are really in depth and insightful and really colorful and just really enjoyable to kind of go through. Yeah. I mean, this
I
year we had, I mean, the for season one, we had like half of them coming in from USA, but like we want to kind of expand our horizons and get more of our Asia, people getting into it. So I'll be bringing in kind of games like this more to the Singapore Tableau group as well as the Australia user group. So I'll be working with Frederick, Alex, and some Kim Lee as well to see how we can actually collab and spread the word for games like this.
Yeah, what a great idea. I had no idea about the Jacob Turner story. That's fantastic. That makes me wish I had kids so I could start training them in to be
Now my kids are too young, but eventually I might start them on that, but we'll see.
yeah, you can double or triple your entries into everything really if you got your kids working on Tableau as well. What a great idea.
Yep.
No, but that's a fantastic story. And yes, I will do my part for Asia. I was a little bit distracted this last year, but this next year will be full steam ahead on games like this missions. There, I've said it now, so I better do it.
We'll hold you to that. All right. It was really great talking to you, Paul.
Likewise, Lewis. No, thank you for the invitation, and great to meet you in Vegas. And yeah, keep up the fantastic
I'll
work
see
on
you next
games
year
like this.
in San Diego then.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be there. I'll be there. No doubt. Hope to see
All
you
right.
there, and
Thank
keep up
you.
the great work on games like this.
All right. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Okay, so yeah.
All right, cheers.